Hi there, everybody. Good evening and welcome to Shifan Pro's Empowered Women in Blockchains. I'm absolutely delighted today to have our wonderful guest speaker, Mariam Nusrat, the founder and CEO of Breshna. Now, Mariam, I'm just so excited to hear everything, all the updates, because we've had you here as guest speaker before, and I know you're just such an inspirational human being, and it's so exciting to hear everything that you're doing in this space. So yeah, what have you been up to lately then since we last spoke?
Hi, thank you so much for having me again. I'm always excited. The Shifan family is just like amazing. I love the community, and I'm always happy to come and chat with you. I mean, we've had an exciting few months. As we discussed the last time we met, we're building Breshna, and Breshna is a platform that empowers everyone to create their own video games. So the best way kind of to think about it is kind of like the TikTok for video games, what TikTok did for videos, where anyone could go on and create a video. You didn't have to be a video editor or someone who had a lot of technical skills. That's kind of what we're trying to do for video games. We believe video games are such powerful communication tools. The impact that they leave on our brains far transcends kind of the virtual boundaries in which we play them. I grew up playing games like SimCity, where I was learning about urban planning without even knowing that I was learning about urban planning. And that kind of led me to become a very strong believer in the storytelling power of video games. But video games are very expensive to make. They require a very high level of skill set and a lot of time. And I think the way that no code has democratized video and design and web development, if you look at Canva and WordPress and TikTok and Clubhouse and all these other channels that are no code platforms for content creation, that just hasn't happened within the video game space. And even when it does happen with some of the low code platforms, like you see Unity or Yo-Yo Games or mod.io, it's usually tailored towards a game developer audience. And to me, that was just being an avid user of Canva and being non-tech myself. I was like, hey, I believe in video games and I want to make video games. And if I can, go on Canva and make my own presentation, then why can I not make my own video game? And that was kind of the inspiration, the big gap that we're trying to solve with Breshna. Breshna itself means lightning in the Pashto language, which is my mother tongue. So I'm originally from Pakistan. I moved to the US around 11 years ago. And since then, I've spent 12 years in the education policy space, working at the World Bank, and then 8 years in the purposeful gaming space, and then over a year now in the tech venture capital space, building Breshna and democratizing content creation through video games. So let me stop there, see if you have any questions, and then I'd love to tell you where Breshna is at and kind of what we're doing with the Web3 layer of Breshna, which is very exciting.
That's absolutely amazing, and I love the idea of it, and the fact that like you said, the no code aspect and everything really lends itself to people. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money, or you don't have to be great at coding or whatever. You can take part and create something I'm guessing relatively easily, right?
Yeah, so we stand by the lightning speed. The fastest game that's been made on Breshna is less than 4 minutes. And whether we've seen teachers from South Africa making math games, parents making games to teach their kids about financial literacy, startups making games for marketing and training, or just kids making games as prom proposals and Trevor Noah games and makeup and Halloween games. And it really is just a drag and drop model where the games are pre-coded for you. These are hyper casual games. So think about Super Mario and Space Invaders and puzzle games and Tetris and, kind of like tile matching games. And this is actually the fastest growing genre of games. Like mobile games is the fastest growing genre of games. The average gamer is actually a 36-year-old woman often playing something like Candy Crush on the metro. And I think that that is a demographic that's just completely overlooked when we think about the video games industry. It's a very stereotypical 22-year-old sitting in their basement playing Call of Duty for 8 hours. There's actually, that's not the case. I mean, the games are a universal language. There's 1 billion video game players around the world, but only 200,000 people making games. And that's probably what explains why most games have the New York City skyline and the yellow cab, and there's very little diversity in the flavor of games that we see. And if we empower people around the world without any coding or design skills to make their own games, then we're going to see that diversity of storytelling appear within the games, because it's about democratizing that access to the game making skill.
Yeah, I think you made some, you put some new landmarks on there as well too.
Absolutely, Joanne. So we have, we try to, within Brashna, there's templates. And then once you pick the template, you can pick through avatars and backgrounds. And within the backgrounds, we have Middle Eastern landmarks. We have landmarks in Asia and South Asia. And, you know, it's like within the, we try to show diversity of age, ethnicity, body types, gender, just like the whole range, because we truly do believe that you should be able to make a game that reflects you. And actually, what's really exciting is right now, Brashna has around 1,500 to 2,000 game assets that you can use within your own video game. So it's a huge variety, but soon you'll be able to add your own avatars and your own digital goods and your own assets within your own video games. And that's kind of where that's the segue into our Web3 model as well, because we're building an entire marketplace where you're able to contribute your own digital assets. And these could be normal assets or NFTs that live on the blockchain. So if you have a cool cat or a Bored Ape or a crypto coven that you own, then you can now put your own NFT into your own video game. So for instance, we're partnering with different NFT series where we've then animated the entire sprite. So the entire series now has an additional utility layer where all of a sudden, not only do you own an NFT, but you can also put it into your own video game and have a game that you truly have ownership on. And I think that's a really cool aspect of Web3 gaming, is that people spend so much money. If you think about Call of Duty or, you know, World of Warcraft, I mean, people spend thousands, tens of thousands of dollars buying, you know, skins and weapons and armor and all of that to play within the game. But that's just, the value of that is only within the ecosystem of the game. Like once they leave the game, they cannot take that asset anywhere else. What we believe is that you should be able to leverage the assets that you have within your game. If they're NFTs, not only do they have value within the Brashna ecosystem, but also outside of it. So we're really excited about not only having us introducing diverse templates, but also having people bring in their own assets and their own artwork and put it into Brashna video games.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. So, you know, say for example, if I were coming along and I wanted to, you know, get involved in this, maybe create my own game, how does it work? How does it work for somebody that's just, you know, turning up for the first time and is interested in doing something? How does it work exactly? Because I'm really curious.
I love that. And if you want, Shelly, if I don't know if we can share the screen, I would just love to kind of also just show it and see if we can just take a quick look at Brashna, if that's possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me just facilitate this one moment.
Thank you.
There you go.
Very cool. So I would love to just kind of quickly open up Brashna and just show it around. So this is brashna.io. It's completely free. Anyone can go on here. And basically what you do is you have these templates that are pre-coded for you, right? So this is a racing game. This is a tile matching game or a jigsaw puzzle, or whether you want to do, there's a lot of Wordle fans out there. Like Wordle had social media by storm. And there's like, you know, word matching games and a Mythbuster game. This one's really cool for some of these women in Web3 myths that we have. Like, you know, it's like, I mean, it's really cool for introducing data. So for instance, if you just wanted to make your own car racing game, for instance, you wanted to make your own Rev and Ride game, or you were to make your own. So you can now, as you can see, there's all these avatars. In this case, it's cars that are already created for you. And then you have all of these backgrounds, but wherever, whether you want it to be on an airport or whether you want it to be on a field, but basically all of the backgrounds are pre-coded for you, and you collect those. And then this is where the fun part starts to happen, is within the levels, you're able to then say, what do you want your players to collect? So if you say add asset, you can have any of these. So these are collectible items, and some of it can be fun, like, oh, collect all the candies or the cupcakes, but then some of it can actually be like educational or awareness building. You can say, hey, collect all the things that are healthy eating, or collect all the things that represent a certain culture, collect flags of countries. But then the coolest thing is you can actually add your own text here. So you can say SheFan Pro. You can add all of your partners. You can make a game which is catch all the SheFan Pro partners. So you can add their names over here. And the coolest thing is this text can be in any language that your keypad is in. So you don't have to have it in, for instance, English. It could be in, we've seen games in Arabic and Spanish and all sorts of other games. And then once you collect your non-collectibles, your music, choose your music track that you want to put in, and then your game info. And once you're done, you just publish your game. So for instance, these are some of the games that I've created. And, it's just like, I can go into my own games and take a look at them. And like, this is my entire list, and I can simply say, hey, these are the games I've created. So for instance, this is a unicorn game that I had created, and this is a tile matching game. And all you get is a URL link. And this URL link you can send on WhatsApp, you can put into your own website, you can put it on a blog, whichever one you want. I'm sorry. Let's see. But this is just a tile matching game. That's unicorn themed, because I have a friend who her daughter really loves unicorns. So that was kind of my motivation for this game. It takes a minute to load because I'm on Zoom and doing that. But here's just like, you see different tiles and you just have to match the elements. And so, okay, I saw this unicorn here. So there's that. But this is just imagery. You can make it text, you can be mixing text, like pairs of, so you can be like the name of your logo and the name of a partner, or like, it's like all kinds of other things, whatever that you wanted to do. But basically this is just one of the many games that you can play on and make your own game on Breshna. And that's kind of how it works. Sorry, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry, I couldn't quite reach the button. This is amazing. And I think SheFan Pro, Joanne, I don't know what you think, but I think SheFan Pro, we need a game, don't we?
Yeah. I've seen you had doing Breshna boot camps too.
Yes. So we've been throughout the summer, we were doing boot camps with kids, because often parents see video games as the enemy. It's like, oh my God, my kid, here they are spending all these hours in video games. And we're kind of flipping the script of saying, rather than taking the kids away from the games, let's bring the learning to the games. And that's kind of where we've basically been running these boot camps, where we train these kids on how to make their own Breshna game within an hour. So it'll be a 1-hour workshop where we get these kids together, they make their own Breshna games, and then over the week, they make their games, they submit them, and then they compete for prizes. So it's just been, just the use cases, just the amount of different ways in which you can use simple video games to communicate, whether it's a trivia game, whether it's like, a simple imagery game, whichever one it is. I just feel like you can do so much storytelling, even through simpler games. And then once we have our Web3 layer, which is going to be the NFT marketplace, but also Breshnaverse, which is a virtual carnival. And there you'll be able to not only make your game and share it, but you'll also be able to monetize it. So here, if I can quickly go back to sharing my screen. This is kind of our Web3 package. We have our white paper, but then what's really, really cool is as I walk through it, we basically are thinking about Breshnaverse, which will be a virtual carnival where you'll be able to have your own carnival stands. And you'll be able to build them by buying NFTs from the marketplace. So whether you want, your carnival stand could have, for instance, over here, you have a stream, or you could have like a beanstalk or a popcorn machine, or whichever one you have. The bigger your carnival stand, the more traffic it attracts. So for instance, Joanne, if you made a game and you were like, hey, Mariam, for the first game, it's free, but then the second game, it's really cool, so give me 2 Breshna tokens for it. And the third game, if you complete level 10, then you win an NFT award. So for that one, you'll have to give me 5 Breshna tokens. So just like a real life carnival where you play these small games and you pay for them, exactly the same idea of saying, hey, do you want to make games and not just make them, but also monetize them? And that kind of just imagine the world it opens up for teachers, for content creators to be able to kind of like the TikTok model where you'll have the quantity play, but then the quality of like, you'll see some really cool games come out of it. And those are the kinds of games that you can then monetize. So that's kind of what we're foreseeing is not just, so these are the games that are made on Breshna, but then you can actually also display them within the Breshnaverse and therefore have a make and earn model where you're not just playing games and earning Breshna tokens, but also making them and earning Breshna tokens.
That's absolutely love it. It's so exciting, isn't it? So where are you at now? And obviously, we're with the markets being as they are at the moment, bearish and everything. And I know it's having an impact on founders and all sorts of different things at the moment, isn't it? Interested to know, where you are with everything and is that impacting?
Yeah, so, very interestingly, we were in an interesting space where, let me just open this, like, for instance, press release for us. We were in an interesting place where we were wrapping up a kind of our fundraising. So to date, we were able to raise $2.4 million from some very strategic investors, blockchain founders around 11 tribes, but then also Bill Ackman, and most recently, Paris Hilton, who joined our cap table. So it was, we were in a very exciting place where we were able to kind of fundraise, at that cusp when the market was shifting. I have to say, obviously, fundraising has become harder, but I do see it as one of those things where there's almost like a bit of a silver lining for founders that are creating good quality projects because there's less noise now, right? So, I think in the bull market, there was just so much hype, so much noise, and anything and everything was flying, and anything and everything. There's a lot of cheap capital. So I actually believe that now that hype has died down, they always say this, the best projects are made in bear markets. And I truly, truly believe that this is a really good time to hunker down and prepare and do the groundwork so that we're ready when the next wave comes in and everything. Look, blockchain is a technology. It's here to stay. It's like it has so much potential for decentralization, ownership, transparency, accountability, that it just is one of those things that we truly, truly believe. Like, for us, it's not Web3 for the heck of Web3. It's our users ask for 2 things. One, ownership of what they were creating and the ability to monetize. So we didn't include a Web3 layer because we just wanted to do blockchain. It was that the technology lends itself so well to some of the things that our users are asking for. And I think that will be the best application. Those will be the best projects that we will see within the bear market, is when the technology is being fully leveraged for what it really is. And so I actually believe that, a lot of people have lost a lot of money, which is very unfortunate, but I also think that there's a behavior change, and it's almost like a cleaning up of the space, which is almost like a self-correction that's sometimes needed, right? So people who have been in this space long enough know that these cycles happen, and they're here for the long-term vision, and they're hunkered down and they're building. So for us, it's been similar, where we're just keeping our head down, We're building Breshna's marketplace and the carnival, and we're going to be launching in Q4 our Web3 layer within Breshna, and then soon after that, our token. So it's something that's very interesting. We're actually really leveraging the time right now to build and just continue to grow our community.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with you. It's like a bit of a cleanup, isn't it? You know, at the moment, like you say, in bull markets, it can be very, very noisy and you know, and I think, you know, sometimes, you know, certainly with this bear market, although it is unfortunate that, you know, a lot of people have lost a lot of money, I think by the same sort of token, you know, I think it's dulled some of that noise, and like you said, you know, some of the best, you know, success stories come out of a bear market, don't they? So absolutely couldn't agree with you more there. You just touched upon some exciting things there for Breshna moving forward. So what is next on what do people need to look out for?
Absolutely. So I think you know, within the Web3 gaming space, I think one of the things that we're seeing a lot of in the last year, some things that we saw were like games like Axie Infinity, or games like, you know, even Sandbox and everything, where the biggest motivation was a play to earn model, right? And I think it was very unique. These were first movers, so a lot of innovation happened in this space, but it also kind of put light to some of the constraints, right, of a play to earn model. So especially for the Axie example, one of the things we saw was just this grinding mentality where people just quit their day jobs, you know, in East Asia, and came over to Axie, played all day because they were making, you know, $7-10 per hour, which was actually more than what they would make at their day job, and just play to earn. And then once they got the tokens, they would like go in and dump them. And see, if you just have like, you know, a constant one directional flow of tokens, that unfortunately is not a sustainable token economy. It's this aspect is really interesting to me because I'm an economist by academic training, so supply demand really excites me. And it was just really interesting to see the dialogue start to shift within the blockchain space, within the Web3 gaming space, from not just a play to earn, but a play and earn. And then there's a play and own. You know, it's like, so there's a lot of this idea that fundamentally games have to be fun. I mean, tokens and earning and rewards and everything else is top-ons. If the game inherently, if your user is not drawing utility from the underlying technology, from making games or playing games, and if they're not able to say, if they're just there to do something apart from the fun aspect of the game, engaging with the core gameplay, then unfortunately it's not a sustainable economy. So for us, what has been really interesting is this idea of make and earn, you know. So we have around 42,000 users from 84 different countries that are on Breshna in the absence of a token. So they're on Breshna for the underlying utility of Breshna, which is they're on Breshna to make games and play games, right? And I think that idea that you launch the product first, you establish the behavior of your user, and then you bring on the token, is something that kind of like separates the noise between our people there for the token, because in Web3 games, that in-game reward has an external value, that token has an external value, or are they there for your core gameplay? And I think that there's a lot of discussion right now around this shift away from play to earn, which is also lending itself to this bear market, right? Which is like in the bull market, every token had value, everything had value. It's just like go, earn, sell. And I think now with the bear markets have calmed down a little, and people are like, hey, wait a minute, how sustainable is this? Is this the next 4 months? Is this the next 14 months? Or is this the next 4 years? And I think that's the kind of time frame that you want to look at with games. I also think there's another shift that's happening within Web3 gaming is the types of games. So a lot of the games that we saw were very much geared towards serious gamers, deep immersive games, role play games, it's like open world games. It's like there was a lot of interactions like that. And I just feel like the next wave is going to be more of these hyper casual games, which is interesting because if you look at the video gaming industry, when mobile games were happening the first time, there was a lot of negative backlash towards them, where people were like, this freemium model, it doesn't, this free-to-play model doesn't work. What is this? No one's going to spend, like, what are these casual games? And no one just took them seriously because they were like, there's not going to be enough engagement. And before you know it, mobile games are the fastest growing genre of games. So I think a similar shift will happen with Web3 gaming, where right now it's very exclusive, very, hey, serious gamers only. And I think it's going to get democratized. And that's the space that we're playing in, is saying, hey, we want to be at the intersection of no code, Web3, and hyper casual gaming that not only serves an entertainment purpose, but goes beyond it as well. So it's a really interesting space to be in. And I think a lot of innovation is happening. And it lends itself not just to being that first mover, but also one of the things I was listening to the My BFF community on Block. I mean, they're a really cool crypto community mostly for women in Web3. And they were talking about this really interesting idea that blockchain right now has not been mainstreamed. And because it hasn't been mainstreamed, there's limited gatekeeping, right? So there's an opportunity for everyone to play because it's new, it's up and coming, and everyone's in there. So I really do believe that we're going to see a lot more inclusion within the blockchain space because it's open right now. And this is the space where you don't have to be the first woman or the first woman of color to do something. You could just be the first human because it's so new and it's happening right now. And I think that gatekeeping hasn't been institutionalized just yet. So I think it's a cool place to be in.
Yeah, it's a really cool place to be. It's still so new, isn't it? And it's so exciting. And one thing I found in my time within this space is that there's always something else to learn, because it's so fast moving, and there's just so much to learn, and it's just eternally fascinating. It's such a journey once you start. And for me, it started with the simplest of questions. What's the difference between a hard wallet and a soft wallet? That's what I started out with all those years ago. And before you know it, it's evolved and grown my learning journey. There's always something to learn, isn't there? And it's just fabulous. And I think, excuse me, if you can get, to learn and educate through creativity and games, and actually empower others to make their own games, and with that diversity and their own assets and everything else that you've mentioned, that's pretty amazing, isn't it?
I completely agree. Like, we could make a game on the Mythbusters between hard wallets and soft wallets. We could make a game on the 10 facts for, cryptocurrency, the 10 facts about Ethereum or Bitcoin. It's just, I think video games are such a cool tool to communicate. And actually, one of the things I've really been looking into is not just leveraging Breshna to make Web3 games, but also leveraging Breshna to create awareness around Web3, right? Like, could there be a library of games that's a curriculum for you to just go through Web3, right? Like, I mean, there's podcasts and there's stuff to read, but could there be games to play as the 101? And maybe that's something Shifan and us can work on. But it's really just one of those things where you could be like, hey, here's an expert network that has all this knowledge, and can you put that into small, because anything that you can put into a quiz, like a multiple choice question, right and wrong, that kind of stuff you can put into a Breshna game. And it's really interesting to me, leveraging video games for learning experiences.
Yeah, I absolutely love that, and absolutely we'll have a conversation about that, Mariam, because I'm big on education, because without it I wouldn't have got to where I am now with Shifan Pro, for example, because there's so much learning to be done. And statistically we know, don't we, that if you can learn through fun, then it sticks way better, doesn't it? It doesn't feel like a chore. It's something that you just enjoy doing, and before you know it, you've learned something, and it just kind of happens, doesn't it? So I love that idea, and it's definitely something that I'm very passionate about, and we will have that conversation, because yeah, I think that would be absolutely awesome.
For sure. No, absolutely. And again, it's like, I think that's another really cool piece about the Web3 space, and especially the Sheen Fan Pro community, is the cake just gets bigger with collaboration. So I just don't even understand like the concept of any competition, because it's like, you know, a lot of investors will be like, who are your competitors? And I'm like, the space is so new and so big that everyone's a collaborator, because like, you know, we're operating in so many different spaces. There's people in no code, there's people in Web3 gaming, there's people in hyper casual games, there's people in purposeful communication, but there's no one who works across all four of those. So for me, every single player in these spaces is a collaborator. I just don't understand the idea of competing when you can make the cake bigger with collaboration.
Absolutely, I completely agree. You know, if you can hold hands and join forces, you know, then why wouldn't you? You know, this is one thing that I'm very big on, you know, that you know, I don't buy into competitors. I think, you know, everybody's welcome. Everybody has a seat at the table. We've all got something to contribute. We're all here on a learning journey. And, you know, if we can, you know, pull together our resources and our skills, then we've become a huge, diverse and very powerful team. And we can have a lot of fun in the process.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I really think that that's the sentiment within Web3 that I'm enjoying the most, right? Like Web3 is very collaborative, it's very community driven, where this idea of the minimum viable community, even before the minimum viable product, Alexis Ohanian talks at length about this, is like, even before you start building your product, start building your community and ask them if the product is even needed. And that's such a huge shift from that Silicon Valley days of, we're building a startup in stealth and we're going to build for 3 years and then launch and then realize no one wants it, or we're going to create a product and then go looking for the problem for it. Now it's completely flipped, which to me is just so intuitive, is build a community, understand the pain points that you want to solve, and then go and build the product. And don't build it in a dark room, build it in public, build it with your community. And it's just so much more powerful. Everything that we introduce on Breshna is driven by a user need. Is not something that we're like, oh, you know what would be cool to build, is like something that it is. It's always like, what are our users asking for? And then let's go and build that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's you know, and it, to me, it fits, you know, with a leadership model, which is, you know, empowering others to be involved, you know, asking the community, what do you want? What do you feel works well? What would you like to see? You know, and pulling from that, you know, is so powerful. And I absolutely love that spirit. So I will definitely be having conversations later on with you, Mariam, regarding some of these games, because I just love it. And, you know, for me, who doesn't code, it's a dream come true, you know. It's just brilliant, isn't it? I mean, you know, and it's great fun, you know, and I love the idea as well that you can share, you know, the link, you know, in messages or whatever.
That's really cool, yeah.
Love that.
Put it in your newsletter, you can put it in a blog, you can put it on your website. You don't have to download anything. You don't have to come to our website to do it. You know, it's just like, it's a link. You take it wherever you want to take it with you.
Yeah, it's so empowering. I absolutely just love that. So how do people, you know, obviously people go to your website. What have you got any places that the community hangs out that, you know, our audience could go and take part in and everything? How do people get involved? Where do they find you?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, the first place to find us is absolutely breshna.io. I mean, that's the website. Anyone can go on here. You can register for an account. You just need an email. If you want to get a free, absolutely free demo, you can go and contact us. And here it says book a live demo. Mostly it's me or someone from my team. It's a Calendly link. You can book, you know, demo slots for, there's 2 available every single day. So that's one way. But then I am myself very active on Twitter, and that's where we're building in public. So that's Gaming for Dev at GAMINGFORDEV. Again, I build in public. I share our highs and lows, you know, with the community. I mean, founder journey, fundraising insights, all of that, that's right here. And then you can also email me at mariam.nusrat, MARIAM.NUSRAT gamingfordev.com. So email, chat with us through book a slot, book a live demo, or DM me on Twitter, and I'm always very active over there. We're also at Gaming for Dev on Instagram, and the same at Gaming for Dev on Facebook. And then I'm also on LinkedIn. So basically accessible everywhere and happy to talk to people.
Oh, I love that. That's brilliant. So, if anybody, here watching this recording today, obviously wants to reach out to Mariam, or wants to book a demo, or wants to get involved, now where you can reach her and the community, and and just explore and have some fun whilst creating something that that's bespoke to you, and where you live, or what you're trying to engage people in, or it's your thing. I think it's just brilliant for creators, for everybody. I love how simple it is as well, and accessible it is as well. I just love it, and I think it's absolutely a genius idea, long overdue. We need this, and Shifan Pro, I think we'll definitely be needing to have a game of our own as well. I think we need to get onto that, Joanne, don't we?
Yeah, for
definitely.
Sure, yeah.
Definitely, we'll get onto that. So, Mariam, suffice to say, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. I really, feel honoured to be partnered with yourselves there at Breshna, and I'd really love to have you back as well. In the near future, with more updates, and hopefully I'll be able to showcase our game at Shifan Pro with Breshna, and showcase our game, and see what you think to it.
I love that plan. Again, thank you so much always for having me, for giving me a platform to share Breshna's journey. I would love to pay it forward. So if anyone has any questions on fundraising, Web3 building, founder journey, whatever it is, sometimes it can be a lonely journey. Founders can be, sometimes it's lonely at the top. So it's always good to have a community around you. And, again, I'm super happy to come back, share updates on our Web3, on the Breshnaverse, on our token coming up in Q4, and just discuss all the exciting things and how we're building our community. And obviously Shifan Pro is a huge part of that. So thank you so much once again for having me and for being game. Thank you.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much. And to everybody that's watching, thank you for being here with us. It wouldn't be us without you. So thank you for taking part and taking the time out of your schedule to be with us today and watch back this recording. So thank you to everybody. And Mariam, thank you. I can't wait to see you again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Bye.